I'm feeling good.
I like a dude who fucked his wife up and then gets it back together.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Good Bro, Bad Bro, the number one show on the internet for dating, self-improvement, social skills, and learning more about relationships between men and women. Before we get started, make sure you hit that like button, drop a comment for the algorithm, and today we're going to be talking about The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, Bachelorette in Paradise, and who better to tell us about it than somebody that's actually participated on the show, Brendan. What's up, buddy?
What's up, buddy? How are you? Thanks for having me. I'm excited. I've been waiting all month for this. So.
Yeah, we've been trying to set this up for a while, guys. Tell us a little bit about you. Give us your background.
Well, born and raised in Toronto, a good old Canadian boy, and don't have a big, large family. I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
Okay.
And I had a cool experience of going on The Bachelorette and Bachelor in Paradise, and I've learned so much within the last year and transitioning into real life. I got some cool stories to tell you for sure.
What's interesting, guys, about Brendan here is that, I like to think that most dudes in Ontario and Canada in particular are kind of like this, like just general bros. That's what the show's all about, Good bro, bad bro, and all that. It's interesting because people that in the rest of the world are very fascinated by Canadians, hockey players, kind of bro type dudes. Guys like you just fit perfect on Bachelor, you're tall, you got the tattoos.
Yeah.
Good looking guy.
You got the hair.
Yeah, you got the hair, buddy. You got hair. That's key. Hairline's mint.
Well, I feel like every guy now has the exact same haircut. And I used to have flow like you. I did.
Really? You had flow?
Yeah, when I played junior hockey, I had long flow down the shoulders, cut it, do the clean cut look. I kind of want to pull it off again, but it's going through that awkward phase.
Yeah,
that
it's in between, man. It gets fucking...
It's the in between, and it's like, we got to rock a hat, we got to do this. So,
dude,
got the basic hair right now, but, summer's around the corner, let it flow.
Buddy, I used to have the same cut as you. I had the fuckboy cut.
So, yeah.
I got sick of it. So I went hippie for a bit.
You suit the flow, man. And
you think so?
Yeah, and you're intelligent. With all these books you read, I could tell you're an intelligent guy. So
true, yeah. You look like you don't know anything, bro.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Do you ever get that? Like, when you have the douchey bro flow and, you got the tattoos and Bachelor.
Yeah, I just think the basic, it's when you go to Starbucks and get the basic... white girl drink, right?
Okay.
It's one of those situations, I definitely get perceived in a different manner a lot of the time. And even like old buddies I grew up with when we first met, they're like, oh, we thought you were a total douchebag, but you end up, bonding with these guys. And I don't know, I feel like I'm a respectful guy. I love everyone. And, life's short. I do love people and I love getting to know their life story.
Yeah.
And that's one thing from the show is you learn so much about these guys that you're on the show with, and you don't really have time for small talk. You have time you have to get to know their whole life story, which is really cool.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, you were on The Bachelor spin-off, Bachelor Paradise?
I was on The Bachelorette on season 17. That was Katie Thurston's season. And then Bachelor in Paradise Canada. It's a spin-off show. There's a U.S. version and Canadian. This was the first season for Canada. They had a mix and match of U.S. contestants and Canadian and some newbies in the mix. So it was definitely...
Oh, so they had some guys from previous seasons.
They had people... Yeah, it was... so the Americans were from previous seasons. Canadians were from some previous seasons. And then just kind of newbies. They got thrown into the Bachelor Nation world just from applying to the show. Mm-hmm. Between both shows, I only had 2 weeks to prepare, which was like super draining, mentally exhausting.
That's a lot of sit-ups you must have had to do.
Yeah. I mean, and you know what? You have an open bar too, so I was just pounding back beers the whole time.
I was gonna say that's awesome.
But no, I was doing like the double tequila sodas on the beach, no doubt. But it's man, we learn a lot from that experience, just from really learning about people. Like I said, we don't have our phones. We don't have anything, right?
Oh, they take your phones for the show?
We don't have TV. We don't have anything. We barely even have music.
So it's like real life back in the day.
Real life. This is like, and this is kind of my vibe because I grew up in a little dive bar with my dad, and I still go there till this day. It's all regulars. Everyone there's family to myself and my dad. And, just growing up, my dad said, don't be on your phone. Shake my buddy's hand, ask them how they're doing, how their kids are.
So you used to knock on people's doors to hang out, eh?
Yeah, that's like that. I got the old school in me from my dad. So even just on the show, it's like you don't have time to ask about, oh, how's work? Work sucks. Yeah. You can't just go on your phone, scroll through Instagram.
Ooh. So you probably had an advantage on the show. I feel like nowadays people are very used to like that thing they could always go to, right?
Yeah, it's a little excuse to just not talk to someone. It's easy. Let's like escape an awkward conversation. So this was totally up my alley, but it was really just looking at someone and saying, just tell me your life story. Start from day one. How'd you get here? Where are you from? Tell me about your family. Tell me about yourself. Even if it's a tough conversation, just lay it all out there.
Well, social skills are on a massive decline, man. And a lot of it is because, the accessibility to a phone. And at the beginning of the day, when you check your phone, you just deplete all the focus and energy that you have.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. I wish, as much as that experience of being on reality television, not just through the Bachelor franchise, but I believe every show that does this concept, and like a lot of people call it, it's a social experiment. It's really weird, and it's
what they call pranksters. Bro.
You know, it's a social experiment, and you know, once you come back home, you do get your phone back. Your phone's blowing up, and you kind of get like that high again. You're like, oh wow, like all these messages,
the dopamine and shit.
It's a weird thing, but even now, like I catch myself, I'm like, I'm on my phone too much, but it's in front of us. It's there.
Yeah.
But if we don't have it, I mean, I'm fine without it.
Yeah. How many weeks did you go without your phone on the show?
On the Bachelorette, I was there for just under 40 days.
Yeah.
And then with Paradise, we did a 2-week quarantine. Had my phone in quarantine. And then
you probably used it way too much in quarantine.
3 weeks filming. Yeah, and well, you know what? It was mostly in the quarantine. It was just kind of FaceTiming my good friends and my family, like my dad every day, calling my brother, my sister, and just being like, hey, like I'm still here for another week.
Nice.
But you know, I'm gonna lose you never know when you could lose your phone.
Yeah,
they can just grab it. So
true.
You just wanted to catch up with family and make sure everyone's good and healthy, and you dive right into it.
All right, guys. So like we're discussing in this video, there are a bunch of red flags in both men and women when you're dating. One of the red flags that some people pay attention to is poor hygiene and skincare. There's a lot of people out there that are good looking, but they don't take care of their skin. Maybe it's too much time for them, they don't know what product to choose, or they just aren't following a proper routine. This is an issue that a lot of guys and girls face, and that is why I am excited to partner with T. Hanley for this video. T. Hanley is a skincare company that helps simplify having an effective, manageable skincare routine. They have a bunch of different products, but I recommend you start with the basic level 1 system. Super beginner friendly and gets everything you need to get done in a skincare routine. It comes with your wash, morning moisturizer, your nighttime moisturizer. What I also like too about the morning moisturizer is that it has SPF 20 in it, so it actually helps with sunlight as well, because as you guys know, one of the things that ages your skin is being exposed to the sun all the time. And because T. Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're giving you guys a really good deal, 30% off on your first order, okay? All you have to do is just click the first link in the description and you'll get 30% off your first box and a free gift too. Anyways, back to the video. I used to be a forest firefighter.
Okay, amazing.
And we were out in the bush. We had a fire. It was at Red Lake up north, Ontario. And we had the helicopter out there. So we were literally camping in the woods.
Wow.
Didn't have phones at all. And they would helicopter drop food for us every couple days, like a giant cooler with ice, you know, shit like that. So I brought my fully charged phone at the time. It had a bunch of classic rock downloaded on it. And I'm like, yo, for the first week, if I put it on airplane, I could just listen to music. I'll be good. Yeah. It died within 2 days. So I had no phone for almost 3 weeks.
How'd you feel?
Dude, day 3 or 4, I was like, oh my God, I would watch commercials right now. I'm so bored. Day 5, day 6, I was like, this is nice. I don't even need it. Dude, a week in, I was like, I'm never using my phone again. I'm never watching TV again. It's like my body totally acclimated to not having access to a phone, TV.
Yeah.
And then I got back. I had a hot shower for the first time in 20 days. Unbelievable. Sat down, watched a movie, passed out in 10 minutes. But right after that, I slowly creeped back onto my phone.
A little bit, yeah.
But dude, if you go 2 weeks without it, you don't actually need it anymore.
Well, the thing with me, I think in that situation, we have no choice to give up our phones. So we have no choice. Yeah. So it's like, I'm not choosing to do it. I have to do it.
Well, that was with us, because we were in the middle of the bush.
Yeah. So, and you know, once it gets taken away, you're just like, okay, what do? You know, you tend to think a lot. You start thinking just about life a little bit. At least we had some TVs to watch in the quarantine, but you just do a lot of thinking on your own, a lot of push-ups, I would say, and just trying to stay active. But yeah, you're bored. But you know what? It's like, I would say the first few days, I'd say 3 to 5 days is tough. Yeah. Because you're bored. And that's why we go on our phones. Right. That's why we go on TikTok.
Well, so phones are there for when you're bored.
When you're bored. Yeah. And, but yeah, you kind of get accustomed to it. Just like working out in a gym. If you haven't worked out in a while, you know, you jump in the gym, you know, the first week's tough. But then you get used to that routine. So it's just
you start to look forward to it.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, it was a great social experiment. And I'm glad, you know, because you learn about yourself. without your phone.
How different do you think the show would be if everybody had their phones?
I don't think there would be a lot of friendships that come out of the franchise, I would say.
Yeah.
But you also need to be dead focused on like the Bachelorette or the Bachelor, vice versa.
Yeah, so let's get into that. Like, so explain the premise of the actual show for those that don't know what The Bachelor is.
So the Bachelor, the Bachelorette, what I was on is there's one lead, there's a woman, and there's 30 guys.
Damn.
Come out of the limo, do your thing, do an entrance, and I think about 7 or 8 guys go home the first night. But you just
Right away.
Yeah, you want to get a rose, you want to have time with her, you want to just. It's a weird situation.
How much time do you get with her the first day?
Oh man, you might only have 15, 20 minutes with her. Like honestly, some people maybe 10 minutes, depending on
If
what
they
they're
cut it
doing.
short,
They cut it short. Depends. Like if you have something planned for her, a little date. You know, I played hockey with her night 1.
Nice.
I was the only Canadian on the show.
Buddy, huge advantage.
So I, kind of do a little background. Hockey is a huge part of my life. Coached young kids.
Yeah.
It means a lot to my dad being a hockey dad, single dad, put me through hockey. Kind of give a little context of why it's important to you, and you kind of want to show her a little bit. Little piece of Canada. That's sort of that was my go-to.
Yeah, play it up. Yeah,
that was my go-to. It's like hockey, Canada. Like you're gonna win, right? So, I think the main thing everyone always asks, like, are you there for her? Do you like her? But a lot of people can get manipulated. I feel like coming out of the limo, and it's like you see this woman who you've been seeing on the news, almost like this famous woman, and you can really. Some guys might
put her on a pedestal.
Yeah,
don't do that, guys.
Right?
Do not do that.
So some guys can get a little starstruck in a sense, I would say.
Yeah.
But I think, I just wanted to put on a really good first impression. And then throughout my time there, I just wanted to really get to know her and see if I liked her too, because it's a whole different.
Well, it's a value exchange, right? You
Yeah.
can't just be totally sold over by somebody that you've never even met before.
Yeah, and exactly. And someone with that platform, especially nowadays with social media, it's such a big thing for some people. So I think for me, it was really just like getting a really good first impression in and standing out in any way and just not going home night 1.
So I'm thinking like the first impression of all the other guys on this bus. Do you go in there and you're like, man, all these guys look like me? Or are you like, I'm the only one? Like, what did you see?
That's
30 Chads on a bus.
Yeah, it's actually true. It's insane. It's I've always been a confident guy, well spoken. I feel like, and just I'm very secure with myself, who I am as an individual. And when you get out of the limo and you do your little entrance or whatever you want to call it for the Bachelorette, then you walk into the house. You're walking up there, and your mind's just racing. You're so nervous. I blacked out, I think, the first night.
Damn.
And you walk into the house and you see like just great looking tall guys in suits. And you're like, I feel like I'm a, decent looking guy, but look at these guys. And your ego could get hurt in that sense, because everyone is like a, stand-up guy and good looking. And
It's like all of a sudden you're on an even playing field, eh?
yeah, it's
Because you're like, what, 6'2"? Same height as you?
6'2". Yeah, I would say like around 6'2", 6'2.5".
How many guys do you think in North America are 6 feet or taller?
I saw this TikTok of you
Yes.
guys. I saw it.
Let's go.
Is it 14% or something?
14%.
14.
So 6'2", it's like 4% or less. Man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so you are top 4% of men in that regard. But now you're on the show. Is pretty much everybody there like same height as you, 6'2"?
There's some guys that are under 6. Like you kind of have to
Yeah.
throw it in the mix. You don't want to toss the short guys to the side. But there's some guys that are like 6'4", 6'5", and you're just like, I am a loser. You're like, I'm leaving. Like I'm out of here. So
Damn.
it does hurt your ego a little bit, but you kind of, once you start to get to know all the guys, you guys, you become like family, right? That's a cool thing.
Yeah, so that's where it's interesting, though, because, I feel like I'd bro out with everybody on the show, too. But at the same time, we're all, like, competing, So, but I think the old Gary Vee term, there's 2 ways to win. You either build the tallest tower or tear the other towers down.
Yeah.
So right away, could you tell that there were some people, like, trying to be the highest tower? So, men of class, and then there's people that are like, I'm going to fuck these guys over.
Yeah, there's definitely, I think not so much our season. Our season, we had such a big bromance, and like it's known that we have such a good group of guys. There's obviously some like people, we didn't have villains on our season. We had one guy who was labeled a villain.
Yeah.
He wasn't. That's just the way the show portrayed him, right?
Yeah,
and some guys are just like brutally honest, and sometimes people love that.
Right.
But on the show standpoint, sometimes people are like, no, that's kind of a douchebag move. I kept it like I didn't want to change who I was, even for like screen time or anything else. I'm just going to be myself because I know reality TV, I know the franchise, I know everything in regards to just television or having a platform after.
Yeah.
You got to be careful. And I'm just like, I'm going to be myself.
Yeah.
And that's that. You know, if someone's in the wrong, I'll speak up. But like,
Yeah.
it's not really, I don't know these guys. I'm not going to sit there and yell at someone I don't really know.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
Well,
right? So,
they probably qualified you guys before the show, though. They're like, Brendan's nice, but doesn't really have that, like.
Yeah.
But did they have guys on the show that are like firecrackers versus guys
Yeah.
that were more laid back?
For sure. There's definitely, you know who's kind of very outspoken.
Yeah.
Night one, I would say, in the first week, you kind of get to know everyone's personality in a sense. So you got your quiet guys who are very classy,
Yeah.
elegant. They're there for the woman. And then you got guys that'll just stir things up for no reason. But it's TV, so
Yeah.
you do need that.
That's interesting. So what kinds of, because these are, I think what many would agree would be like top percentage males on the show. Because the whole idea of the Bachelor and Bachelorette is you have like 30 top contenders fighting over one top contender of the opposite sex.
Right.
So, you had all these guys that are, they had the look. What are some other things you noticed about all the guys on the show? Like, was everybody very socially calibrated, confident, all that?
Yeah, I believe every single guy there, he's never had an issue getting a woman, I don't think. Every single person was very confident and secure with who they are.
Yeah.
But you know what? That whole experience does bring you out of your comfort zone as well. No matter how confident you are as an individual, you come out of the show with more confidence. There was a ton of guys that when they left, they really kind of broke down a little bit and even said, that coming into this experience, it's very intimidating seeing all these good-looking guys here in suits, dressed to the nines, and leaving the show, you find this new confidence in you, and it feels like you can almost like host the Oscars afterwards. It's the craziest experience.
I think what happens too, and a lot of people have a misconception about this, but all the guys at the top work together.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a weird concept. I mean, one thing I think for myself that I forgot, once you're on the show,
Yeah.
you're kind of pacing around before night one, and you're like, you're trying to figure out what you're going to talk to her about. You're just
Basically how it works is you have opportunities to meet up with the girl that you're going to talk to.
Yeah.
Do you have any kind of preparation for that, or do you just have to wing it?
a little bit of both. I mean, you really want to keep it into like three standpoints of like, ask how her day was, talk about yourself a little bit. You kind of want to have 3 points and then go back and forth with that. Producers are there to really help you with your conversations because they know your conversations that you're having. Mm-hmm. A lot of people just black out and forget what you're talking about. So,
yeah,
one crazy experience with being on The Bachelorette is once you have a conversation with the lead, it's once someone else interrupts, you basically, next time you see her, you can't even chime in off of the old conversation you had. You really have to dive in deeper next conversation and talk about something different. So even if you're talking about family and a very important subject that you guys were talking about, next time you see her, whether it's like a day, the next day or 2 days later, you got to just talk about something different because each time you see her, you need to get deeper and deeper because, at the end, the goal is an engagement.
Right.
Technically, right?
So you have to go through like, there's like steps, there's layers you have to peel back.
Yeah, you got to peel back layers and you got to really dive in deep. But, one thing you always forget is that, you are there for the woman, but all the group dates you got to do, you don't know what to expect.
Yeah, group dates. Okay, so this is a very interesting thing. Group dates, you got the Bachelorette. And then how many guys does she go on a date with at the same time?
We might go. It depends, like how many guys are out of the house at this point. But you can start with like, I would say 10 to 12 guys maybe the first week.
Yeah.
So you're there. You don't know what to expect. I mean,
yeah. What is that like, dude?
I think the very first group date that was on our season, it was with the other half of the guys.
Okay.
And they had to do like the best lover of all time. And they went on stage and they had to. The Bachelorette was in the audience. We actually all came and, all the other guys from the house, we dressed up, we sat in the audience for it.
Yeah.
And all these guys had to showcase why they're the best lover of all time. Some guys took off their shirts. Some guys got onto the bed. Some guys were, singing sexual poems. It's insane, and you kind of forget you can't really back away because you're like, well, I'm here, I'm not going home.
Yeah.
I have.
So it's like a talent show.
It's a talent show in that
Whoa,
sense. So you have to do that. Ours was mud wrestling.
Oh.
But we had to take our shirts off.
So you wrestle each other or her?
The boy, you wrestle a guy, unfortunately. But so we're in the mud. We had our shirts off in the middle of the desert. We're all muddy. We're all wet. And you're kind of you're competing, and you don't want to lose against another guy in front of her, the host. Like you don't want to do that.
That's bad.
It's gonna be on TV, so you're like, it's a full on it's a full on like Stanley Cup final. Like to me, this is like this is serious, and I gotta win. I'm not losing. Mm-hmm. So you can't back down from those, and it brings you out of your shell. You can't procrastinate. You really
How did you do in your wrestling?
I won.
Nice,
yeah,
dude.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, I won. So
did you notice that she paid more attention to the guys that won the wrestling versus the guys that didn't?
No, I mean, I think for her, she was looking at sportsmanship too. For a lot of people, how they reacted, and I think I remember one time I helped. I mean, I was fighting Hunter. I love Hunter, and I helped him up after they rang the bell and give him a big hug, and she even noticed that. She's like, your sportsmanship's really good. And so it's really the little things. It's not just about the competitions. You're gonna have guys that are bigger there and stronger in a sense, different weights, different heights. So it's just like, it's really how you are as a human being. That's what I think. That's what they look for. If you're looking for a husband, and I put myself in her shoes, you're gonna look for deeper things. Not
only the guy that wins, but also the sportsman.
Not like just a jock. You want a decent guy. You want a decent guy.
Gotcha. So that's interesting. When you were going through the private dates and stuff, obviously you have game of your own. But the producers, do you feel like they were giving practical dating advice for real life, or more so like for what would be good on the show?
I feel like producers, they're just there to help you out, really. Like any questions you have, they are incredible in every way, from just your producers that you work with to the executive producers. They are there to really just help you out with any questions you need. If you do need help trying to guide yourself of where am I going to take this next conversation, because we were in a deep one last week. Now I want to kind of, do you feel like I should maybe talk about this thing that happened in my life? This is why I am the way I am.
That's interesting. So they were like, they were your ringmen, your corner
They're kind of, yeah. Especially like for me, I always felt like I was always on the right page with where the conversations, where they were going leading up to being on, even just cocktail parties, like grabbing Katie for a little bit and seeing, just seeing her even for 10, 15 minutes. You really don't know concept of time there.
Right.
Unless you actually have a watch.
Yeah.
My watch, they weren't working. None of my watches. I needed new batteries. It was just for the look, honestly. But, there was times where, I did ask, and they said, well, you know what, like, that's a deeper conversation that you should have maybe down the line. So maybe just...
You don't want to open the bag too soon.
Exactly, right? So producers are there to just really help you out, and they're great.
True. What about the guys on the actual show? Because I know you said a lot of them were very socially calibrated.
Yeah.
I've heard this from a lot of guys. They'll be good-looking, tall, handsome, outgoing, but they have no problem the girls going up to them, talking to them.
Right.
Or they go and talk to the girl opens right up to them.
Yeah.
But as soon as they start talking, the girl gets totally turned off. Like, what the fuck does this guy?
You definitely need a lot of balls to really step up and like go pull the Bachelorette off like another guy. Like, they're sitting
that
down,
must be tough.
And you want to be respectful, but it's just kind of, I don't know. We never had an issue. Our group of guys were so good. I remember stealing Katie from a guy there, and he was my buddy, and he's just like, hey man, like, have fun, take care of her, gave me a little hug, and walked away. And he was like, man, these are great guys. So if some guys aren't used to really being bold and making that first move, it might be tough for them to really like step up and like plan something and really just like, I don't know, grab the bull by its horns in a sense.
Yeah, because it's easy to, if you're going to do that to some regular guy. But when you're doing it against like the top percentage of guys.
Yeah, because like there are going to be guys there that have maybe, maybe they're not as confident of going up to a girl, but maybe in a group setting, they would be. So it tests your skills. And like I said, you are there trying to figure yourself out. So you're saying, okay, well, I'm gonna go pursue her right now. And it's like, you got to just do it.
What did you see that worked versus didn't work that you wouldn't have thought before? Like, was there anything you saw in particular? Like, man, I was smooth with that guy did.
I felt like I did a good job with building a connection with her and really where our conversations went, I still feel confident with how I portrayed myself on the show.
Yeah.
But I think just speaking up in general towards other guys, that's what people like to see, but also you don't know if you're going to be a villain or not. So you could I have maybe chimed in a little bit more? And
so villain. So is that like, that's a regular term for the show?
yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
So the villain, who's the villain? Is he the guy that everybody in the show hates? Or
Yeah, just causes a ruckus. You know, like maybe he wants to grab her 2 times throughout the night, and just like some guys are waiting to have time with her.
Oh, so some guys haven't
Some
even.
guys might not even have time with her.
Fuck.
And the guys are just stressed out because you're like, I don't want to go home, and I do want to just get to know her a little bit. Maybe this conversation, all it takes is one conversation. And that's one thing with, I think, you know, just with women and relationships, man, like, you know, we never know. You can be walking down the street passing your wife one day. You don't even know that.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
If you have a conversation with someone, that's all it really takes to, you know, spark something up or see if something's going to work out between you two. And all it takes is a hello.
Yeah.
And that's how simple relationships are in a sense.
Yeah. So before you went on the show, like, what were your wheels like? Because I feel like you probably, you know, girls would probably be, you'd be like, hey, and they'd be like, oh yeah, okay, I'm interested in this guy.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
It was, I haven't heard that term wheels in so long.
Buddy, it's Canadian special.
I know. Well, when I was playing hockey, I used to use that all the time.
Yeah. Birds.
Yeah, I mean, like, I definitely confident guy, never really had issues, you know, getting to know other people. I've been in 3 long-term relationships, so haven't really been single so like that much. But you know, ever since my last relationship, I've basically been single for like 3 years.
Yeah.
I would say. But yeah, I've always been a relationship guy, you know, playing junior hockey throughout high school. I've been in those long-term relationships. And then I think, you know, the last little bit, you know, living on my own, you start learning about yourself a bit more. You're very independent.
Yeah.
You know, you like waking up, making coffee, and not like getting bugged by anybody too. And it's kind of like
That's one of the things, but as you get older,
yeah, you just don't want to. You just don't want to talk to anyone some days, right? But yeah.
As soon as you got here, I had to kick my girlfriend out.
I know. Thank you. I
home.
appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
I really do. But
She was annoyed. No.
I've never really had trouble getting to know other people. I've always been confident.
The number one fear in the world to this day is public speaking, which baffles me. Probably baffles you because, you know, when you're pretty socially confident and outgoing, it comes naturally, so you kind of take it for granted in many ways. But yeah, majority of guys can't even approach a girl in real life. But you've been able to do that, and what would you say like the biggest key is for those that want to get better at that?
You just got to do it. That's the main thing. We had a group date. We had to kind of stand up. It was kind of like a comedy show roast.
Yeah.
And we had all the guys on panels on the stage. And I just kind of roasted all the guys in good context. They were all my buddies. And I said, hey, I love you, but here's a little joke for you.
Yeah.
And you just do that. And there's cameras around you. And you're just kind of, you got to show you have balls. And you just start talking. I mean, there's a lot of things. You know, people might be great one-on-one with people, going out to bars. Even for me, public speaking it was never an issue. Yeah. But it was still it's still a little uncomfortable.
Well, first couple seconds walking onto the stage.
Yeah. But you really just got to have a confidence and just like know what if you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
If you go up there with like knowledge, you know, it depends what you're talking about. But if you know your stuff, if you're confident in what you're talking about, and you have your facts straight, there shouldn't be an issue.
Right.
People are, you know, I don't think if I put myself in an audience member's shoes, I'm not sitting there judging how he's talking. Yeah. I'm there to, like, if you're public speaking, I'm there to listen to you. And that's all. It's really just a conversation, but you're just kind of on a pedestal. Really, it's simple. I mean, I like to simplify things in life.
Yeah.
A lot of people like to complicate it, but I like to just simplify it because it is simple.
What's the biggest thing, man? Action taking, really.
It's action taking and just doing it, because you're never really going to know unless you don't do it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing.
For those of you that need direct one-on-one help, I do have coaching services available. The guys that I find the most benefit from this are usually dudes in their 20s or 30s that have a purpose, they have a passion, they're working towards something in their business life. They usually have a really good income coming in already, but they have major approach anxiety. They aren't able to get with the women they want to. They're using dating apps, but they don't actually have a girlfriend that they want. They don't actually have a girl in their life that's providing value to them, or they do have a girlfriend or they are dating girls, but it's not going the way they want to. And there's also a lot of guys that had some trauma or past failures or rejections or something unrelated to dating, and it's destroying them inside, and they need to get that charisma, confidence, that swagger back, right? So I can help you guys out with that. So if you'd like to book a one-on-one call with me, go to the link in the description, and I look forward to hearing from you guys.
You know, you could walk by, like you said, your future wife, but you'd have no idea because
idea.
you're like, oh, she looks busy. I don't want to go say hi to her.
Yeah, just things like that. Or she, you might see her at a bar and you're like, oh, she's with a couple guys too, and you're scared. Like, just ask if she's taken. That's all you.
This is the ultimate version of that, though, eh? Because there are 12 other guys there.
30, and I mean, that's 29 other guys. So
it's nuts.
You're just like, how is she gonna pick? Like, how am I competing with these guys? So you just gotta trust in yourself.
We start with 30 guys, and then there's 24 after the first day, and then is it every week one goes home?
Yeah, not one. Like multiple guys will go home. It'll be like 3 or 4.
Gotcha.
And you're just counting down. You're just like, get a rose, get a rose. It was...
So it's interesting. Instead of you're kicked off the show, it's you just didn't get a rose.
Right.
So it's redacted.
Exactly. So in my experience, I left the show in a sense, kind of... So I never not got a rose.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so what happened with you on the show? So how far in did you get?
I went top 7, so just before hometowns. Ooh, and
okay. What would your hometown have been, buddy?
Great question. I know
Muskoka,
CN Tower for sure. King West. Yeah. Let's just go to King West. No, because
Marineland.
Let's go to Marineland. No, I think our main we were. It was through the pandemic, right? So
true.
My parents would have to flown down. But I kind of knew that my parents weren't going to be able to make it just because essential workers working for the airlines and all that.
Yeah.
So I knew, like, hey, if anyone's going to come down, it'll be maybe my brother, which he would be way too scared to even be on television. So it would be him or like 2 really good buddies.
Gotcha.
So I would have kind of brought Canada to where we were filming. I would have like set up something. Producers are really good at that.
That's crazy. You were the only Canadian on the show.
I was the only Canadian, and then halfway through the season, my good buddy who was on the season prior to me, he ended up showing up again.
Oh. Well, they just were like, get in here? Like what?
Basically. And he ended up getting engaged to her.
No!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Interesting.
So
you're a couple weeks in, and how's it going on the show?
Yeah, things are going good. You're just trying to make the most of every opportunity you can get. Cocktail parties. And there's times where like she'll just cancel the cocktail party and say, we're going right to a rose ceremony. You're like, I didn't have enough time with her.
Fuck.
Like, you're like, I'm fucked. I'm screwed. You're already planning your flight home. You already know. Yeah.
You're just thinking the worst, eh?
You're thinking the worst. You're going to see your parents. You got to explain everything. And, you do miss family back home. That's one big thing, too. You miss your parents. You miss your everyday routine of checking in. Like, my brother and I, we would FaceTime every morning, right? So it was one of those situations where you're just planning stuff. And I remember a time I was writing notes for my 2 good buddies and for all the guys. So I did it for my roommate, James.
Yeah.
My other good buddy, Aaron, and then one note to all the guys. Thank you for this whole experience. I love you guys. I basically hate living with guys and roommates because like I'm super OCD and clean and stuff too.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, but this has been the best experience, and like you're all family to me. So I wrote them a little something, and I was prepared to go home that night, and it was a situation where I got the last rose, and my good buddy and roommate went home, and like great guys went home, and you just break down and cry because for me, you basically leave.
Right.
And me as a Canadian, I know I won't see these guys for a while.
Yeah, true.
These other guys are all American. They can just fly and see each other within 2 weeks.
Were you like the nicest guy on the show? Because I feel like Americans versus Canadians, man. Like, do you think they're all writing notes about each other too? Or just like
one guy, Andrew, he wrote a note when he left, and that sort of gave me the idea for it. But like, I really wanted to make my personal one to my roommate, to my other good buddy, and to all the guys. And even for me, like I just had like a reunion with the guys in San Diego.
Yeah, I saw that, buddy. Yeah,
like that was our 1 year reunion when the show started for us, and like that was kind of the last time I saw. I've only seen 4 guys from the show since.
Yeah, in
Toronto when they came to visit me, but going here, like I saw all my American buddies. Dude. And it was surreal. It was like
that must be sick though, eh?
Best thing in the world. Like, love these guys
because it's so worth it because you just get a group of homies and not just homies, but like qualified top shelf homies.
We've all been through this experience together, and you live with that for the rest of your life, and you can't take any of that away. And it's just these bonds you have. Like I said, it's not just guys you want to go out with on a Friday night and just drink. It's like these are guys where, you know, my buddy Garrett, he's like, hey, you know, I'm in and out of my condo for the weekend. I want you to stay with me. Here's house keys. There's beer in the fridge. Like these guys go to
above and beyond
because of what you experience together.
Well, that's men and women form bonds differently, and one of the main ways men form bonds is through suffering together. So like the camaraderie,
Right.
like we're all on a similar mission. We're all working towards the same goal.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why, like, you know, coworkers or classmates in a group project, or like you guys were all in this house, basically living together like
Yeah.
roommates, and you all had a shared goal.
Yeah.
So you all bonded. Yeah. That's the brotherhood. That's
Exactly.
good bro, bad bro. That's what it is.
That's what it is. And that's one thing through this whole experience that people don't realize. You're there for the woman, but you need the guys to
Yeah.
get through this whole experience.
Right.
So the guys who actually go in there saying, I'm not here to make friends, I'm here for her only, they don't last, those guys.
Did you see any of those on the show? Seems like you had a pretty chill season.
We had a
right?
chill season. Like, I mean, there was maybe a couple guys that were like really, even though, I mean, there wasn't that many guys, but I'm saying from past seasons, that's usually like, it's like, you're not here for the right reasons. And then people will say, oh, well, I'm here for her, not for you guys. Stuff like that.
Yeah,
In our instance, you need these guys like to vent to at night, to
true.
talk to just like unwind. And I don't know, it's an emotional ride. There's a lot of crying going on. Like,
It's interesting, you know, the male end of the spectrum
Yeah.
for this show.
men cry. It's okay.
I put so many TikToks up about how men should cry to their boys, their therapist, and their family,
Yeah.
but not to their girl. I got a lot of heat for that. I mean, I still stand by it personally.
Yeah.
But, you know, you can disagree.
I mean, I think the only time crying to your girlfriend or significant other would be if you guys are going through a really bad patch or you guys are ending things. You know, it's going to happen.
If you cried first week, do you think you would have got a rose, buddy?
No comment.
Good answer, buddy. But yeah, that's one of the things I've learned based on a lot of the videos I've done. So I know you might not be familiar. I have another YouTube channel, and that's how I got started on all this. I just did pranks and interviews for like 4 or 5 years. So I've approached and talked to like thousands of people, man. And
It's
like,
amazing.
Social experiments, you know what works, what doesn't, and it gives you such a confidence in being able to read people, how to provide value to them and whatnot.
Yeah.
And in doing that as well, I did a lot of interviews, and I would interview a lot of young guys, young girls, and they would tell me about what would happen, you know, like people in their 20s, the relationships they've been through, horror stories of things that happened to them on both ends. Like, I opened up to my girl, and then she left me the next day.
Yeah.
Basically, I learned so much, and I feel like the things I learned would be similar to something that you would learn being on the show. Like, you probably learned so much about the dynamics between men and women being on the show. Like, seeing certain guys do stuff, and you're like, wow, I can't believe that worked.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people have a real misconception about dating and what women are actually attracted to. And then shows like Bachelor are very interesting because for Bachelor, for example, you have one guy that is the 666, you know, 6 inches, 6 feet tall.
Stud.
Yeah.
Stud.
He's got good income.
Yeah.
All that. Got the nice suit.
Nice teeth.
Perfect teeth.
Perfect teeth.
White.
Probably a Rolex too. He's pimping out.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice alligator shoes. Just this guy has it all.
And massive social proof too.
Yeah.
Because you got 30 women with you.
30
you know.
beautiful, like top-notch women. It's freaky.
Yeah.
There's not one bad-looking woman there.
And then they're participating in, you know, hypergamy, which is the idea. Do you know what hypergamy means?
No, please help me out here.
Dating somebody of superior class. So
Right.
dating up.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the Bachelor version, you have all these women, and they're all trying to be with the prize, right?
Exactly.
And since the prize is a man, and they all are looking up to him, they allow him to do stuff that a guy that's not the prize would not be able to get away with.
Exactly.
Like if a dude that's low tier cheats on a girl or messes around with a couple other girls, a lot of girls won't tolerate that. But if the Bachelor does it, they're like, yeah, that's okay. I still love you.
Right.
You know.
Right. You can basically make a fool out of yourself, and people will still like you.
Yeah.
In a sense. Yeah, it's crazy. I couldn't even imagine being, you know, the lead because it's the hardest thing in the world, and
You have all the leverage, right?
it's weird. I that's another topic for another day. But that's definitely something so stressful. I wouldn't be able to even. How do you pick? You know, especially just having a 10-minute conversation with someone. I mean, you might be able to.
Yeah.
You know, you can maybe find, your top 10 people first night, maybe just from that conversation you feel the confidence between the conversation that's flowing. But I always try to like go back to my own personal experiences. I've never really had a bad date or bad conversation with someone, really. And maybe that's why. It's because I can talk so much. So even if I was on dates in the past with people that weren't as social as me, I would kind of have to bring that out of them. Yeah. But it's
well, that's a skill in itself, bro.
Well, you kind of have no choice. You're like, I'm here for a dinner. We're having drinks.
Yeah.
Let's make the most of it. And it's like I said, it's a conversation. Some people open up later on, and you can maybe see their outgoing personality, maybe a week later, maybe, a couple more dinners, a couple more drinks.
Yeah.
But that was sort of always my thing, is like talk more and just tell stories. Because I have a ton of stories. So, whether that's from my family to, just my parents, my brother, even through stuff I went through growing up playing hockey and traveling.
Yeah, women love stories like that, man.
You just go on, and then hopefully you're just like, okay, can I just like take a breather, and then she can chime in? Yeah. Can I just like listen to you for a sec? One of those things. But
well, yeah, on a date, when you first meet a girl, you want to kind of show a lot of value right away, so that you have these cool stories, you have these cool things you could say. But the idea is you're going to have to put all the effort into the conversation initially.
Yep.
And then you get it to a point where like you're doing maybe 70% of the talking for the first couple of minutes, but then you want to get to 50-50. And then on the back end of the date or whatever, she's doing most of the talking and you're listening.
Well, you need to show the listening skills. Huge thing. Listening is good, especially when you can kind of follow up with it, but letting her talk through it and doing the thing. Yeah. So yeah, it's I would say dating, it's kind of like a puzzle, but you do have to kind of study it. Yeah. To be honest, you do, especially nowadays, because the way people with their social skills, like you said, they're kind of declining. The way people meet nowadays too, that's another whole.
I think the biggest problem too is attention span, man. Nobody can fucking tolerate anything without being on their phone.
Yeah. I usually get tunnel vision. Like when I go out, since I grew up with, don't be on your phone when you're out with people.
Yeah.
I put my phone away and like I'm just all in on that person to just like talk to them.
Well, yeah, it's just respect, man.
It's a respectful thing, and it's the right thing to do.
We've done a bunch of TikToks on this, like when you're on a date and the person. It applies for men and women, but for the sake of that, I'm a guy. If you're on a date and a girl pulls out her phone, like right away, that's a turnoff.
Yeah, it's honestly it's a red flag for me, and I don't mind if it's like, like.
You got to text somebody,
Or I'm going to go up to the bar, grab a drink for us, or, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Like, hey, check your phone, make sure everything's good on your end. Like, whether it's family, if your mom or dad need to know where you are, if your friends are saying, hey, how's things going? Because, if a girl goes out, her friends are checking in on her.
Right.
Do your thing. Whatever.
What's the difference between that and replying on Snapchat or something?
Oh, yeah. That's I know. Red flag. But, the biggest thing, just like stay off your phone when I'm with you. And once I step away, it's all yours.
Same for dudes too.
Yeah.
Sometimes though, like, I know when a guy, I'll be on a date and girl has to go to the washroom and my phone's blowing up the whole time. And I'm like, okay, quick, I can rip replies to all these.
Yeah.
But as soon as she gets back, shit's going away.
Done.
Yeah.
That's it. Common sense.
Yeah. And well, it's not common sense.
Well, common sense isn't so common.
No, yeah, you're right.
Might get that tattooed on me one day.
Buddy, you know what it is? Fucking people don't do things that they're supposed to because the other person isn't holding them accountable or letting them get away with it, right? Like if you're a hot girl and you pull out the phone and the guy doesn't say anything, you're like, oh, okay, this is okay. I can do this and get away with it. And a lot of guys, they're like, oh, this girl's so beautiful. I'll just let her do that.
I know. Guys get, like I said, you can get a little starstruck off of someone who's very beautiful, and you kind of just get sucked into that, let them do whatever they want.
And you can't
It's
do
a
that.
big no-no.
No. Big no-no. But what happens is, it builds them up. And then that person, one day somebody does call them out on it, and they're just like, I guess one of the weirdest things, too, is when people live in a bubble for years, and then all of a sudden the bubble pops, and they're like, wait, this is real life?
Yeah.
It's like when people's looks decline, or maybe the reason people were interested in them, because, maybe they were popping, they had some fame for a bit, or they had some wealth for a bit, and then all of a sudden that goes away, and then everybody treats them different, and then they go, oh, what the fuck?
No, I get that. People, I think these last couple of years, 2.5 years, however long it's been, it's definitely, I've seen the decline with people's social skills for sure.
But that probably made you stand out. Well, I mean, I would say it would make you stand out on the show, but all the guys on the show are standouts.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I don't think even the pandemic has really changed, much for me. Like I was still being social, checking on people, and like I'm not a big texter whatsoever. I need to FaceTime. I need to call somebody and talk to them, or just be like, hey, let's meet for a beer. Let's like plan something. Texting, it could be like 2 hours of planning versus a 5-minute phone call. That's my biggest thing is like, why don't you call me? Like, I don't want to play these texting games. I'm still very old school, and that's what I'm fortunate for, just the way I grew up with my dad and around his buddies.
Well, when you're top level, you can get away with that too, right? You know, I feel like at a certain point, women are turned off by guys that are on their phones a lot anyways.
Yeah.
Or guys that text too much.
They're just childish too.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, it's way better to, when you meet a girl, hey, let's exchange numbers, we'll go out sometime. And then you text a little bit to set up the date.
Yeah.
And then once you go on the date, that's when you actually talk. Like, why are you talking over cell phone messages when you can talk in person?
And that's my biggest thing. If I did, I remember back, when I was trying dating apps back in the day, I would do a couple days of texting, and then that same week, I would expect at least a FaceTime or phone call just to see if you can actually have a conversation.
Yeah, do you want to get to know me, or do you just want the validation?
Well, people want pen pals, especially through the pandemic. People
texting,
texting. They just want they just want the notification saying I'm wanted, in a sense. So in this instance, I'm just like, well, let's jump on a phone, call, or let's do a FaceTime. But because via text, anyone could sound perfect. It's calculated answers.
It's
right?
True. Take your time.
But in a FaceTime or a phone call, when you're talking, you can see how long they really pause for. And I'm not trying to nitpick someone who's like how long they pause for to answer a question, but like, let's see if the conversation flows.
Yeah.
Because if it's
chemistry,
if it's not going to flow over a phone call, or is it going to flow in person?
Yeah.
So, and then like within that first week, let's plan something on the weekend. Like I'm not going to get to know you without seeing you. So let's plan something. And then if they just still want the pen pal thing, I'm like, I'm out of here. But that was kind of my forte.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the forte to go with, man. Because, why are you going to give free attention and validation to somebody on their phone if all they want to do is just, have a pen pal?
Let's just, even going out for an hour, like let's grab an appetizer or, beer, a glass of wine, and just talk for an hour.
What's the go-to first date, buddy? Spinach dip and laser tag, or what?
I would say just even a walk around the city, grab coffee, go for a walk, or actually just go for a couple cocktails.
Nice.
It's the easiest thing. You sit at the bar if you're going for drinks, talk. You can also, the one thing I've learned from that is the waitress or bartender, whoever's serving you too at the bar, they usually want to have a really good conversation with you too. They want their tips, all that stuff.
Chat them up, dude.
Chat them up. But like the bartenders are very personable with the people sitting at the bar. So you also want to see how they interact with other people too. So you're sort of saying like, okay, well, he's talking to me, he or she's talking to me. How is she going to respond to things? Is she going to like have a good sense of humor in that sense? Because it's just you and her. It's great, but like you also do want to see that other side.
Yeah, that group dynamic. Well, you can use the bartender to help you wheel.
It's that third party person that is going to chime in about, hey guys, like how's your night going? Where are you coming from? What drinks do you want? You
can mess around too. Like, we just finished helicopter pilot school.
Yeah, we literally, and then from helicopter, we actually just went skydiving too, out of a helicopter, and then just screw with people a little bit, but you can just see how fun the other person is. So there's little things you can, if you really wanted to dissect somebody the first date. But I think a walk around the city is great too.
Another pro tip for you guys, go to multiple locations.
Yeah.
Because when you go to multiple locations, it feels like that person and you have known each other longer, which builds inherent trust.
And you're in public, and it's like it's a safe place, and you're out in public. There's a lot of people around too. You want to see how comfortable they are with other people, but even like going to the mall and just saying, hey, like I want to check out a couple stores. You can see their sense of style. You can have fun.
Well, observational, man. Yeah. The biggest thing on dates, because I think a lot of guys, if they're not really good at talking, they don't know what to talk about.
Yeah.
But something that's key is using things around you and then have observational conversations. So you talk about the things you see, like, well, look at the shirt that guy's wearing.
Yeah.
Or that tree, that's bizarre.
Yeah.
And then you just banter and you go on things like that.
Well, even for her to have an input, not so much dressing you up, but if you're going to a mall, you go to a store, like, oh, this jacket's nice, and she'd be like, oh, try it on. And then you try on an outfit, you kind of laugh at it, you have fun with it.
Yeah.
You might come out of the mall with a couple good outfit choices.
Or
right?
the thrift store.
Or the thrift store.
Yeah.
Toss in a couple Value Village visits. And
you don't need to spend a lot of money to have fun on a date.
No.
That's a big misconception people have as well.
Absolutely.
So one thing about the Bachelor, though, to get back, the actual structure, maybe not necessarily your experience, but like there's the sleepover segment. What's that? That's like,
that's fantasy suites. That's for like the top 3 people. Okay. But in my instance, so just before hometowns, I remember we got off topic there for a little bit, but at that point, there was one more. What was it? There was one more one-on-one date So it was a one-on-one, and at this point I still haven't got one.
Oh.
And it was between myself and a guy named Mike, and this was huge. It was like, well, you can't even get to hometowns. You know, they're next week. Like, I'm not going to get there unless I have a one-on-one with her, like a full day and night.
Right.
So that's why one-on-ones are huge, because you have basically all day with her. You have hours with her.
So it's like a proper date.
This is a proper like day and night spent, dinner, everything. So, I got called, you know, on another group date. Mike got the one-on-one, and I just got up and I said, you know, I can't even be here. And I think even the week leading up to it, I did tell the guys, I respect them so much. Their time's valuable. Everyone here's had a one-on-one. If I don't get one, like, that's not fair for me to stick around just to not really get a rose, because I know I won't be getting that hometown, and like, why would I bring my parents down here or like involve them if I'm not really, if her and I aren't going to pursue anything more. So yeah, I went to her room and said, you know, this journey is about you, and this is about her journey, finding someone for herself. But like, now my feelings matter. You know, I'm sacrificing a lot to be here. I don't need to be here another week. And I didn't get that one-on-one. So, you know, I don't think it's fair that I really stick around. And she's like, you know, we won't get there. And I just kind of took off.
You went AWOL, eh?
I just gave her a hug and, you know, went out. I feel, you know, I went out the way I wanted to go out.
As opposed to coming up short.
Coming up short in that sense. But really, you know, she deserves the time with the other guys.
Right.
And the guys deserve time with her. Having another guy in the mix there, that'll take time away from the other guys. And they're already I think, ahead of me.
Damn, you went down for the bros, eh?
Always for the bros. Always.
For the bros.
Always.
Good bro move, buddy.
I love those guys so much. So
that's interesting, man. So, because women already have so many options when it comes to dating nowadays.
Yeah.
You know, we did an episode where we played a video. This guy did an experiment. He got a normal-looking girl, made a profile for her, and he got Tinder Gold, so you could see how many matches you got.
Okay.
He put her age to 29. She was, you know, average-looking girl, 3 photos, and the caption was like, you know, here for a couple days, looking for an adventure.
Yeah.
How many matches in 24 hours?
Probably hundreds. Thousands.
1,300.
Come on.
24 hours, dude. Insane. One app.
How do you even keep up with that, though?
That's what I mean.
So I haven't had any dating apps. So I actually never had like a dating app until like once I was finally single for my last relationship, went on them. And this is before the show. And, you know, at some point you would have like, I'd have like 500 to 600 matches, you know, within, you know, maybe a month or a couple months. And it's like, all these people are just pen pals. I probably, honestly, out of them, I probably met one person.
That's crazy.
Like in person, because just people didn't want to plan stuff. They always had an excuse. And I feel like a lot of people, and I think I would say, you know, I'm 27. I turned 28 this year.
Hey, me too, boss. Let's go.
Hey, 94s.
Let's go.
And I just feel even like girls in their early 20s, and this isn't for everybody, but a lot of them aren't confident enough to like really go out on a date anymore. It's not old school, right? It's not old school.
You ever seen a girl like go and approach a guy in real life? Woo, that'd be the day, eh? That's
actually
rare.
It happened to me.
Yeah, I bet
it did happen to me.
What was that like? It's happened to me once or twice, but it's weird. You're like, man, this is great. Like, I wish more women did this.
It kind of throws you off guard. You're kind of like, my ego's fucked up right now because like she has more balls than me, right? But it makes it fun though. No, it happened to me, and this was after the show too, and it was in Guelph. Guelph, Ontario.
Shout out Guelph.
Shout out University of Guelph. Trappers.
You were at Trappers?
Well, I was at a bunch of places too.
Oh, you're doing a bar crawl.
I go to Guelph maybe once or twice a year, see old hockey buddies and see my buddy who lives down there right now.
Yeah.
And he has a wife and 2 kids, so he's like, I usually have to go out to him to see him. Mm-hmm. He's a busy guy. So, it was hectic because it was after I filmed Bachelor in Paradise, and it wasn't airing for another like month or 2. Mm-hmm. And so I was just staying low key, you know, but like that college town, it's like, you know, Guelph with that age range of kids there. Yeah. I would say like from 18 to 22, like there's a lot of Bachelor fans. So like you know, you're busy taking photos, talking to people, they're asking questions. But I knew in my head, I'm like, you know, like I'm just here with the guys. I'll talk to people. I always give them the time of day.
Yeah.
And any questions they have, I do my best to answer for them.
Just being a bro. Yeah.
Just being a bro. But people just, whether it's a photo or just talking to you about life, that's my favorite thing. I always try to direct the conversation to about them and what they're doing in school and stuff too.
Bingo.
And, but yeah, no, I think I went for a nightcap with my buddy and he's like, oh yeah, like a couple of these girls I know want to come hang out. And, she approached me and she talked to me too. So it was definitely, you kind of have to build that trust too. Because after the show,
you feel like everybody's just using
you. In a sense, I've had times, and that's been the toughest thing too. And I'm a humble guy and I love meeting new people that come up to me and just talking to them and getting to know them. But I've had instances in the past where, I would see a cute girl at the bar. I would love to just go up to her, buy her a drink. Mm-hmm. And then she's like, oh, like you're from the show. Like, could we have a photo? It's like, well, I can't do that now.
Fuck.
So it's just people who you trust or you don't trust. But,
you know what the worst is too? When you're like, you talk to them for 40 minutes, then they drop that on you.
Yeah.
Like the whole time they wanted that.
Exactly. Like you're kind of stoked. You're like, I'm not, like she doesn't know anything. But, it's weird. And especially being Canadian, like not too many Canadians are on the show. Mm-hmm. So I get it why people want to talk to you about it and whatnot. But I just tell people, I'm a normal guy. It's just a bunch of guys on a show talking. Like, it's not a big deal. Mm-hmm. My life was good before the show. I didn't need that to have the crazy life.
You brought up a good point though, because what you said about how Tinder and dating apps, they're pretty much just pen pals.
Pen pals.
Like you had 500 or 600 matches within a month.
Yep.
All these probably gorgeous girls messaging you, but like none of them really wanted to set up actual dates. They're just kind of using.
Yeah, just pen pals. It's like, do you want to come over for some food or some wine, or do you want to go out somewhere, or it's like, oh well, like my friend group, like we're all going out to Toronto, like let's maybe all hang out, bring some buddies out. I'm like, you know what, these apps aren't working. Like they're just not working. So,
I want you guys paying attention to that, watching, because like a lot of guys, they see guys like you on The Bachelor or Bachelorette, and they go, oh, this guy, everything's easy for him, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, even high level top percentage guys are going on dating apps and the same thing. They're being used as pen pals.
Yeah. And there's some guys that probably want that validation too. I mean, I've had times where it's nice to like talk to someone for a little bit maybe. But then you get to that point, like for me, I don't have the attention span to like talk to someone through a social media app. Cause like, where do you go from there? Like there's an icebreaker, you kind of chit chat, maybe throw in a couple funny jokes in there. That's what the dating apps are for.
Some memes and shit.
Where do you go next? Do you, ask for Instagram, or do you ask for your number? You also want to validate these people are real.
Yeah.
Too.
Dude, a lot of bots.
So out of 600 something people, let's say, how many people are actually real? Yeah. Right? So you're kind of putting that into context. Anyways, you jump on texting, the whole, rule number one, text, chit chat for a couple days, and then like, let's plan something. Like you matched with me for a reason. If you're interested, like, let's just plan something now at this point. There's no reason to spend a week on texting me through another app.
So versus, well, we're going to get into this in the next episode, how to get a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Coming up soon, guys. But, the difference between the time that you spend on a dating app, if you spent, like, let's say, 5 hours making a profile, swiping, versus if you spent 5 hours walking around downtown Toronto with your buddy, you'd probably have way more leads, meet way more people that would actually be real interactions, actual physical chemistry.
Yeah.
Than you would on a dating app. Right?
Well, it's like I said, even just talking to somebody, when I was in Guelph and that girl came up to me and talked to me, like that was a genuine, that's how I would want to meet somebody in my life, just at a bar.
Yeah.
Super, super sweet, so genuine, good conversation, got the number, and then move forward. Right. I already did that. I basically, for that to happen that night, that would have taken me maybe 2.5 weeks from a dating app.
Right. That's so true.
To really just get to know someone a little bit, get their number, plan to meet up with them. Even the planning, just like it takes time.
The funniest thing about shows like The Bachelorette is like that's real life for most girls on dating apps.
Yeah.
Except instead of 30 guys, it's like 500.
500. It's actually it's a cyber Bachelorette, I would say.
Right? The cyber Bachelor.
It's crazy. I didn't realize that.
Buddy, trademark. Let's go.
You should start something like that.
Anything quick about Bachelor in Paradise before we wrap this up? Because you were on that too. What's the difference? What is that?
So I mean, basically, you go on a beach. I was the first one on the beach, and you just kind of post up at the bar. So a guy shows up, which was me. Then a girl shows up, and then a guy shows up. So then it's like 2 guys and with 1 girl. And then,
I see. So they have the set. You're at the bar, then she comes, then another guy comes.
Yeah. If I came in at a different time, I'd be walking into a whole beach with like guys and girls,
right?
And someone might be hitting it off with someone else, and you kind of want to be like, hey, like, can I steal her? Because there is a rose ceremony next week. Like, you do want to start breaking the ice with people. So fortunate enough for me, I was the first on the beach, first at the bar, first beer at the bar. Next girl walks in, and then a guy shows up. So it's like myself and him with this girl that I really liked. And then a girl shows up. So it's like 2 guys, 2 girls. And then it's just like guys and then girl. And then at that point, there was, I believe, 8 guys and then 10 girls by the end of the day.
Good ratio.
Right? And then the first rose ceremony, the men have the rose power.
The men have the roses?
Yeah.
Wow.
So you go up there and you have the rose power for that week. And then 3 girls get sent home.
Whoa.
So after that rose ceremony, the next day, 3 or 4 new guys come in.
Oh.
So you're just like, it's
you have to be at the top of your game the whole time.
You always have to be at the top of your game, but that's one thing, and it's very interesting. And you might already know this, but being on the beach in Paradise, it's a setting where your ego gets hurt a lot because I had my relationship on Paradise that we were together the whole time.
Okay.
She went on a couple dates with someone else, and then you kind of get to a standpoint where it's like, hey, you've been on a couple dates, you've explored. If you still feel the same way you do feel about me, there's no more dates for you, basically, in a sense. Like, it's a respect thing by that point.
Yeah.
You only have 3 weeks to really get to an engagement or like leave Paradise with a girlfriend, in a sense.
Right.
So when you're there, it's like you're with someone, you're falling in love with them, or you really care for them, but then you see them walk away with someone else, like holding their hand.
Oh.
Right. So in your head, you're like, I'm not a jealous guy, but like, this is really fucking you up a little bit mentally, right?
Well, yeah, it's like the test of all tests, bro.
So what happens is that if you actually look at real life, if I'm living with my girlfriend or wife or whatever, if she's going out with the girls, if she goes out, guys will most likely hit on her, maybe offer her a drink, maybe graze her back a little bit. You don't know. Yeah. But you don't see it in front of your eyes. So to you, it's not happening. So when she comes home, like if she's that cool girl and she's like, oh, like these guys today, you should have saw like they look so stupid or whatever. If they're honest with you about it, sure. But majority of the time, I don't think women would be honest about what happens or transpires throughout the night.
Oh,
it's not like they're
interesting.
Not like they're cheating on you, but you don't see it firsthand.
Yeah.
You don't see that firsthand.
So you got to see it firsthand.
So you get to see it firsthand in front of you. So like, you're basically dating someone. I was committed to that person on the beach. Then you see them walk away with someone. Them going on that date. There's going to be intimate moments. They're going to be kissing. Yeah. But it's really communicating after, where like they kind of, as they're leaving, they kind of like wink at you, or they just say, hey, listen, we're going to talk after. Like, don't stress too much. And then just communication, whether it's like, hey, yeah, we did kiss, we had a good day. Moving forward, if he does ask me on a date again, I will go just to explore that. And you're just like, okay. And it's just a kick in the face.
Dude.
So seeing it firsthand, I mean, I could tell you right now, 27 years in my life, I've never experienced that while dating somebody. Yeah. So that was my first time.
So that woke you up to the game. You're like, whoa, you
get woken up and you're like, hey, well, I'm seeing firsthand, even though it's not firsthand cheating, and don't get me wrong. Yeah. But that's your girlfriend that you're committed to on the beach. Mm-hmm. And I had some opportunities to go on dates with other people, but I felt in my heart that person was for me, and I wanted to respect, and that's how I am in any relationship.
Well, men and women love differently, right?
Right. So if she needed that whole Paradise experience to really validate us, which it did eventually, perfect, that's fine. But in a real world setting, when a girlfriend goes out, and even guys, if girls hit on us when we go out, my girlfriend's not going to know that, right? It's not in front of her. So right. It's interesting, man.
That is... Dude, yeah, you fucking woke up on that show. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. This stuff does go on, but yeah, you got to see it firsthand. Most people don't. Yeah. But especially what is most interesting about what you got to see is, it's not any, Joe Schmo walking up. It's like top percentage.
Yeah, they're top percentage guys. And when you just learn about yourself, the most important thing is like, you got to just know your worth. Yeah. You can get down on yourself. It's okay to be like, it sucks. It really sucks because I can spend this time really getting to know her even more, spending a great time watching the sunset with her.
Yeah.
Because you see all the other couples kissing on the beach,
Yeah.
you know, sitting down, just like talking about life and their family. It's like, I'm at the bar all night because I don't have another date.
Ooh.
Right? And she's out with this other guy. So you just got to know, like, you can't really get down on yourself, but you have to just, you got to just
Well, yeah, just be
give
comfortable
yourself
with
validation. You got to be comfortable with yourself because you know what? It's,
Well,
you
yeah,
can
don't
never
take it
really-
personally.
You can't take it personally.
It's just the game, right?
But it's tough.
Yeah.
It's a mind fuck. So,
Oh yeah, it's one of those things you got to get through. Yeah, it's interesting, man. It's the idea of hypergamy
Yeah.
is dating somebody superior class, and when you look at the evolutionary psychology of like why men and women date differently, for women, their idea is to date the most likely man to succeed. So like
Yeah.
the best offspring,
Yeah, of course.
but also provides, protects them.
exactly.
So it's in their DNA to always want a better option. They can't help it. And,
Yeah,
and guys are like that too, but it's slightly different what men and women look for, right?
Yeah.
And Bachelor and Bachelorette, it amplifies it
It
to
amplifies it too.
the top
So
degree.
going back into the real world, it is tough after the show, and people think it's really easy to kind of, because like for me, it's not like you're looking for something better or like on that same level.
Yeah.
Some people, and the reason why a lot of Bachelor Nation guys and girls, they only date within Bachelor Nation after is because of what we went through.
What's that like? You just
I mean,
wait, there's certain apps I know for people that have been on reality TV. and
Yeah.
shit, but
Yeah, not for
you
me.
still prefer real life.
just real life, man. I mean, I'm a normal guy. Once, you know, I tell it to everybody. It's just like you kind of, you'll know who's in it for sort of the right reasons in a sense. And
Yeah.
who, you know, because I know after the show and once my filming was totally done, I got a dating app for 3 days. Mm-hmm. For 3 days, I got it, and people were sending me roses on the dating app, one of those things, and it was constant like Bachelor sayings or this, and I'm just like, this it's just fans.
Buddy,
of the
you
show.
became a sex object.
So I just deleted it. I had it for 3 days because I was like, you know, I'm not going out anytime soon, and whatever. It's the winter time and stuff. So, but it lasted like 3 days.
Yeah.
And that's it. So, keeping it simple, man.
Dude, that's awesome. Well, thanks for being on the show, brother. That was really useful. I hope a lot of you guys learned too, because a lot of people watching this, they might have not been familiar with the show Bachelor or Bachelorette. I watched one season with my housemates.
Yeah.
When there's 30 dudes competing. I think it was would have been 2020.
2020.
So Tara, I think her name was
Tasha and Claire's season.
Yeah, the one. So the first or second episode, the girl got married.
Claire left. Yeah.
she
so
did.
my buddy who came on my show, his name was Blake. He was on that season.
Yeah, he's a Hamilton guy.
Hamilton
right?
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he ended up coming on my season, which was super weird, and he ended up getting engaged to Katie.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay, well, yeah, that's all I have experience with it, but the show itself is hilarious, guys, and it does prove that at the high level, multiple people are willing to share the same person, as well as you get tested at the highest level for what you're able to tolerate.
Exactly.
As like, you know, wow, this is
mentally
what dating's
mentally
like.
you get tested, and it makes you a stronger person, and I'm so glad I did it. Like I said, it's therapy for me. You learn about yourself. You basically come out of this whole experience being like the strongest individual you can be.
Yeah.
And
And you make a lot of bros,
a
dude.
lot of bros, and that's what we're here for.
Good bro, bad bro, guys. All right.
No, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it, and we'll do this again.
Hell yeah, guys.
Thank you.
Next episode we're going to do with Brendan, we're going to break down how to meet your next girlfriend. So that's going to be a big episode. That's coming out in a couple weeks. But yeah, as always, make sure you hit the like button, drop a comment, share this with your friends. That's the best way for a podcast to grow. And join our Discord as well. We have Discord for you guys and girls to join, talk about things you'd want to see on the show, ask for dating advice of your own, and go and give us a 5-star review on Apple. Check us out on Spotify, and we'll see you next Wednesday, 1 p.m. EST.
See you guys.
Peace.